Well, this is a bit of a change of pace here, isn't it? Solomonster here with you on a Friday afternoon, not a Friday night. But you know, when the show is 3 hours long and you really don't have a reason to go live at 11:30 at night, you don't go live at 11:30 at night, especially when it's a go-home show where you don't really expect a whole lot to happen that's going to be terribly important. But that's what this was. This was the final Smackdown, heading into one of the biggest shows of the entire year. My favorite show usually of the year, the Royal Rumble. And they were in Riyadh at their new stadium that will be hosting the Royal Rumble tomorrow. So you got to see what this new stadium that didn't exist a month ago. As Triple H said, I think on his social media, it was a strip of dirt. And now it's a stadium that apparently can fit over 30,000 people. And they slaved over it for about a month. You know, my hope is, at least for the people, you know, if they even give a shit about any of this, for the people that were working around the clock 24 hours on this stadium, hopefully they at least carved out a little section of the stadium where they could sit and watch the show for free. Of course, TKO doesn't like giving away anything for free. So maybe they'll charge them reduced prices for their tickets. I don't know. But we got a big main event as far as star power is concerned. I mean, star power in terms of the current roster in the main event, because they set up a big 8-man tag with many of the names that are going to be in the Royal Rumble match tomorrow, and Sami Zayn, who will not be in the Rumble, but he will be challenging for the WWE Championship. And the Vision was on the show as well, because everybody's over in Saudi now. So we had the Vision against Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. Had to stick Jey Uso in there. That was our big main event, and I don't know about you, but if you were expecting a clean finish to this main event, I don't know why you would have been expecting that. You're going to be very disappointed if that were the case. We also found out, we didn't find out really, but they showed the video from the Pat McAfee show the other day when Brock Lesnar, it was a total surprise. They had no idea that he was going to be calling into the Pat McAfee show. I have a bridge here in Brooklyn that I could sell you if you believe that. But my goodness, he called in. Nobody knew this was going to happen. And he said, I'm going to Saudi, boys. I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, they both declared for the Rumble. They're already in Saudi. But neither of them were on the show here. They're saving them for the Rumble tomorrow. They wanted to add some more star power to the show. They could have. I thought they did a decent job of hyping up the men's Rumble match. I can't say the same for the women's. You know, what they did tonight did nothing for me as far as getting me any more excited for the women's Rumble. Nothing at all. And we got one final face-off between AJ Styles and Gunther before what may have been, I mean, as I look at it now, probably AJ's final Smackdown ever as an active wrestler. I think that's what we got here on this show. But I enjoy the interaction between them, and you know, with the added stakes to the match, and there's so many questions now that are swirling around whether or not this truly is going to be it for AJ. It does add an element of drama to the match that it would not otherwise have, which is what I figure we would be getting at WrestleMania. That's why you built the big dramatic match where, you know, this could be it for AJ. We're just getting it a lot earlier than I expected, but it will definitely help, especially when it comes to those near falls. Even though they're building it around the fact that I'm going to make you tap out, I'm going to make you tap like a little bitch, a lot of it is centered around tapping out and submitting, but still, you're going to have near falls in this match if he goes for, you know, a Styles clash or Gunther hits the power bomb with a high stack. It's going to enhance those near falls. I am looking forward to seeing what those two can do on a big stage like this, because they had a very good match on Raw a few weeks ago, but that was Raw, and that was only the first match. This may well end up being the last match we ever see between these two, so I am looking forward to that. But, I mean, as far as what else they could have done here on this show, honestly, there was nothing. There was nothing else they could do, because they wasted a few weeks of really beginning to amp up the hype for what is traditionally one of their biggest events of the year. I've said it before that this is the weakest build-up and promotion for a Royal Rumble in literal decades. So there was very little effort put into things until Cody declared 2 weeks ago. And so on short notice like this, the final show here, you're 24 hours away from the Rumble, there was nothing they could do. You're either sold on the Rumble or you're not. And realistically, you're either sold on the Rumble because of the concept, or the Rumble is just not one of your favorite events. For some people, it may not be. For a lot of people, it is. And even in a bad year, as far as hype for the Royal Rumble, you're still going to be excited for the Rumble itself because it's the Rumble. You know, there's a lot of equity and a lot of history in this. It's a fun stipulation. You never know the surprises and who's going to come out when. So, I mean, that's what makes the Royal Rumble fun. They don't have to do a whole hell of a lot, but boy, did they take that literally this year. And it's too bad because now that we look at the final card, as 4-match cards go, you understand the Rumbles, they're probably going to be about an hour each, maybe a little less. So they take up a lot of time. But as 4-match cards go, when you look at it on paper, it's actually a pretty strong card. You know, you've got the AJ and Gunther match, you've got a big WWE Championship match, and then you've got all the other big names are basically in the Rumbles themselves. So on paper, it looks like a good show, but again, they took the path of least resistance and least effort in the lead up here to this show. And there was frankly more drama and interest around the actual build of the Rumble arena, of the stadium itself, than in terms of the build for the event and the matches on the event. Because everybody was tracking these photos now for the last few weeks on social media of what the building looked like. Like, oh my God, I don't know if they're going to get it done in time. And so there is kind of some humor in that the literal build for the show seemed to have more interest than the show itself here in the lead up. There was also a huge production botch here on this show. Someone is going to get in some hot water here, or worse, because they spoiled a little something in the men's Royal Rumble match, which I will talk about a little bit later on. And we also had another very good entry, big shock, I know, in the U.S. title Open Challenge series with Carmelo Hayes. This show would be a lot worse off without it. Let me tell you, and enjoy it while it lasts, because as soon as he loses that championship to a heel, the Open Challenge is done. It is over. But we're not done yet, because we got to talk about SmackDown. This is your SmackDown review. It is Friday, January 30th, 2026. I am the Solomonster here a lot earlier than usual. And for those of you who are joining me right now, I know a lot of people cannot, but I thank you for hanging out with me here on a Friday afternoon. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. And if any come in during the stream, I know we got a bunch beforehand, but if any of them come in during the stream, you'll see them pop up. And I will be reading all of your messages like we always do here on the streams. Now, as far as what the plan of action is for tomorrow, the Royal Rumble is going to go live at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I will be live at around 9 o'clock Eastern time. So that is the plan. I won't be live immediately after the Rumble. There'll be a little buffer there of a few hours. But it's an earlier start time. Just be aware of that for the Rumble itself. This has got to be the earliest Rumble they've ever done. I mean, I can't remember them ever having a Rumble that started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They used to have pay-per-views, you know, back in like the early 90s, mid-90s. I remember WrestleMania 10 airing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock for a big show like this, though, is very different. But we shall see if it is indeed a phenomenal end for that man right there. So just be aware, 9 p.m. Eastern, come back here on the channel tomorrow, and we will have the full Rumble recap. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It usually is one of the bigger reviews of the entire year. So after a Saturday night's main event recap, they opened the show with Cody Rhodes coming out to the ring for one last pre-Rumble promo. When Cody broached the idea in his promo of winning his third Royal Rumble, okay, which would be his third Rumble in 4 years. Even I sat here booing. But as soon as he broached the idea of it here in this promo, the fans in Riyadh booed. Now, they didn't really boo him coming out to the ring, but as soon as he even touched on the possibility that he might win another Royal Rumble, they did not like that idea. And in fact, the fans even started to chant no, and they were going like this. You know, the yes chant like this, they were going no. That's a flashing siren there for Triple H and WWE Creative. They do not want to see Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble. And to be fair, the fans in Saudi are 100% correct. That would be a terrible idea. So he says he knows that Drew McIntyre is defending the title against a good friend of his and Sami Zayn. And of course, he got cheers and they sang, and big Sami Zayn fans. He says it would make sense to challenge for the title that's near and dear to him, but he also recognizes that he could face CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. So Cody says he's won the Rumble not once, but twice. And again, he got booed here by the fans. But he was interrupted by Randy Orton. And Randy Orton came out to a ginormous pop. And they all sang his song. And Orton got in the ring and said, look, I love you like a brother. Nobody was happier for you than I was when you won that WWE Championship for the first time. But that's all out the window tomorrow. Because, of course, in the Royal Rumble, it's every man for himself. There are no friends, there are no brothers, there are no partners. And he said, I will not hesitate to throw your ass out over the top rope because that's how I get to number 15. That's how I win my 15th World Championship. And he reminded Cody that he's not the only one to win the Royal Rumble 2 times. That brought out Jey Uso, who ran. He sprinted down the ramp, and he got in the ring, and he started yeeting with all the fans, and then he did the encore, and he yeeted again. He spoke in sentence fragments like he was winded and did not really have a whole hell of a lot to say. I don't really have anything to say as far as what Jey... Like, you can imagine what the promo was. If you've seen one of these Jey Uso promos where he speaks in fragments like this, which I can't stand when people do that, then you know exactly what was said here. Not a whole lot else to say about it. But he did say that he was going to go back-to-back and win the Royal Rumble again. Yeah. I don't think so. But that brought out Sami Zayn. And as much as he would love to spend his evening speaking Arabic to his people here in Riyadh, he recognizes that he is standing in the ring with 3 of the absolute best right now. Tomorrow, though, he faces Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And he's never beaten Drew in a singles competition, which is true. He is 0 for 11 against Drew. Who said that? Scotty said. Jey needs to repeat first grade. Jey Uso was more gassed than CM Punk on Monday. I think he was. I think you're right. Oh, man. Hey, Sidro, what's going on, Sidro? It's good to see Sidro. Hey, by the way, before I go on, I got to say thank you to Scumdog. I'll even give you an air horn. Because Scumdog actually just gifted 5 channel memberships, which is very kind of him to do. So we've got Cinematics and Devin250, Mike the G, I am Temj, as that Temjin Zephyr, and 313 King Leon are all channel members now, thanks to Scumdog. So thank you, brother. And a $10 super chat, too. Hey, Solo, just showing some support. Hey, Scumdog, I appreciate that very much. Good to hear from you. Is it great to be alive on a Friday afternoon here on YouTube with the Solomonster? I would say so. So Sammy's in the ring, as I mentioned, and he's talking about facing Drew. Said, you don't have to worry about Drew McIntyre because I'm the one who's going to be walking out of Riyadh tomorrow as the WWE champion. So if one of you does win the Royal Rumble, you're going to have to beat me. You're going to have to go through me at WrestleMania. So he was interrupted by the disembodied voice of Paul Heyman. We heard his voice. We didn't see a body, though. And then, of course, he comes waddling out on stage with all the other members of the Vision. And on this stage, he says he sees the Vision. He looks in the ring, and he sees no vision at all. He sees Sami Zayn, who will not become WWE champion. He sees 3 men who will enter the Royal Rumble, and it won't be their night either. Tomorrow night, they will learn by their decree that it will be Braun Breaker's night. And Orton just exploded and said that they would give the Vision a good Saudi Arabia ass-kicking here tonight. So that brought out Nick Aldis, and he made it official to give Riyadh a little Royal Rumble preview. In our main event later tonight, it will be the Vision, all 4 members of the Vision, taking on Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn. So we had our main event set for later tonight. Honestly, the best part of the segment was the brief exchange that we had between Cody and Randy. It's the most tension that we have seen between the two of them, maybe ever on TV since Cody came back to the company. And it's still crazy to me. Like, it's 2026, right? Cody came back to the company in 2022. And outside of that one match they had last year in the King of the Ring finals, which didn't lead to anything, they have kept these two apart. They have kept the tension at a minimum between them. We have, what felt like years of Randy Orton just staring at the WWE Championship, which Cody doesn't even have anymore. And it just never went anywhere. But it was also crazy to me when Shawn Michaels came back in 2002. It took until 2009 for us to get another singles match with him and The Undertaker. Now that's pretty crazy, especially considering their history together. They had one of the most famous matches in the history of the company in 97. So he comes back at 02 and 7 years go by before we actually got a singles match. And it ended up being, again, one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. Hopefully we don't have to wait 7 years to get the eventual program between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. We had Carmelo Hayes. He was back with another U.S. title open challenge, which was accepted by Rey Fénix, which did not get much of a reaction, but by the time this was over, the fans were, I would say, pretty heavily invested in the match. Sidro says, who would you have win if they faced off, Fatu or Breaker? If it were me, it would be Fatu. See, that's a match that is still too early to go to. That's a match between two guys that I think are going to be two of the guys that will be leading the charge, honestly, in the years to come. So that's like a future WrestleMania match that you take your time and build up to. I'll tell you what I would have loved to have seen, though. You know, you mentioned Breaker, you mentioned Fatu. And I know Fatu's had issues lately with Cody. Everybody has to be kept in their neat little box. If you really wanted to get people all amped up for the Rumble, it would have been nice to have maybe some sort of interaction or face-off or showdown between two guys like that. You know, to get people excited about the prospect that, hey, you know, in the Royal Rumble tomorrow, we may well have a confrontation between Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker, right? Instead, they kept it basically limited to all the guys that you would expect. And so they didn't really get terribly creative with what they did here. I think Roman Reigns would say the same thing. Not terribly creative on WWE's part. So Fénix countered a first 48 for a near fall before sending the champion to the corner. He was looking for a Fénix driver. Melo avoided it. Two of them traded kicks. They knocked each other down for a reset. So they wound up on the ropes late in the match. Fénix stumbled a little bit, but he played it off. He got back up, and he came off the top with this just wicked double stomp to the back of Hayes. And then he went back up, hit a picture-perfect moonsault for a near fall. So it ended with Fénix getting caught with the first 48, followed by the nothing but net off the top rope. Hayes wins. He retains the United States Championship. No surprise there. They got time. This went through 2 commercial breaks. And again, when they initially came out, you know, Melo got a good reaction. Fénix did not. And as the match progressed, the fans really got more excited. They got more, you know, invested in it. When it was over, it was a very good match here. But they need to put Rey Fénix on TV more often. Like, stop being cowards. Put this man on television. Like, for example, we're talking about the Royal Rumble, right? And thinking outside the box. There's no reason we can't have a confrontation in the Rumble tomorrow between Penta and Fénix. I don't expect them to start at number 1 and 2. But there should be a spot in the Rumble tomorrow where, let's say Penta's in the ring, or it could be Fénix, either way. Maybe better if Fénix is in the ring, because we know Penta's going to get a reaction when he comes out, right? But Penta's in there, Fénix is in there, the other brother comes out next, and we get a little sequence between the two of them. That's something I would like to see. But I'll tell you what I would like to see even more. I would like to see Rey Fénix either involved in something meaningful on this show that gets him on television on a weekly basis, or I'd like to see him shifted over to Monday Night Raw sometime between now and WrestleMania so that we can get Penta and Fénix together as a tag team. That's what I would like to see. Fénix right now is just somebody who's, again, he's like a nice toy to have on the shelf here on this show. And they dust him off when they have a need for him. Oh, we need somebody in the open challenge. We'll get Rey Fenix, right? He'll give us a great match. Let's get Rey Fenix. He's not going to win, but let's put him in there. Oh, Trick Williams. He's the new kid on the block here on SmackDown. We need him to beat somebody in his first match. Hey, you know what? We got Rey Fenix. Let's put him in there. So right now, he's a role player. He's a guy who, when they have a need for someone, they kind of just throw him out there, and then you never know when the next time is that you're going to see him. I'd like to see that change because it just feels like he's sort of wasting away here on this show. Doesn't really do anything meaningful outside of a match like this every blue moon. That's what I would like to see. This was very good. So Carmelo is celebrating, and they cut to the back, and we see Ilya Dragunov. He's watching, and The Miz approaches him. And Dragunov is not very happy to see The Miz, because if you remember what happened last week, The Miz interfered in Dragunov's match for the title with Hayes, pushed him off the top rope, cost him the U.S. title. And Miz is insisting. He goes, look, Carmelo put me up to that. You got to blame him for it. He's the one. He knew exactly what was going to happen there. It's his fault. And Dragunov, he introduces himself. Oh, we never had the chance to be properly introduced. I'm Ilya Dragunov. And he goes, it could have been like this. It could have been a very nice introduction, a friendly introduction between you and me. But instead, you decided to get involved in my business. So tonight, your pain will entertain. And we were told that match would be coming up later on in the show. So on commentary, they hyped up the weekend ahead, and then they showed us footage from the Pat McAfee show this week of Brock Lesnar's surprise phone call, his FaceTime call into the McAfee show, which they had no idea was coming. Brock looked like he was sitting at a desk in just like a random room. So I'm like watching this, and I'm like, okay, Brock is sitting in like an office somewhere, and he's like, you know what I need to do right now? I think I need to pick up the phone and call Pat McAfee. Just out of the blue. I think I'll do that. Okay, sure. Now again, we could joke about the Finn Balor thing, how Balor tried to declare on Monday. Adam Pearce told him the Rumble is full. A few days later, Brock is like, yep, I'm in the Rumble. Brock was already in the Rumble. I think Brock was already being advertised in the graphics and whatnot. So at least you can sort of argue that away. But yes, in case you didn't know, Brock Lesnar will be in the Royal Rumble. If you didn't know, now you know. Go backstage, and R-Truth is there with Nick Aldis, and he's got those balls. He's got those tumbler balls in his hand, and the tumbler is there. Damian Priest walks in, and he finds out that he is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Apparently, he didn't know he was going to be in the Rumble, and I guess Aldis made it happen. I had pulled some strings, but you'll be happy to know you're in the Royal Rumble. And so now, of all people, Damian Priest, who Finn Balor has a checkered past with. I'm sure Finn Balor is just fuming watching that. I was going to say sitting at home, but I believe Balor is in Saudi, because I think I saw there was something he was listed for some meet and greets. So we may well see him on the show tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if he beats up somebody and takes their spot. But officially, as of this moment, he is not in the Rumble. So they took the tumbler for a spin. Priest looked at his number. We don't know what number it was, other than he's entering the Rumble in a very early spot. You could tell by the look on everyone's face, and he goes, well, he said, just means I'm going to have more time to throw out some fools. So 1 through 10, I don't know. I'm gonna spit out a random guess that Damian Priest is going to enter the Royal Rumble in number 4. That's my guess. Backstage, then, we heard from Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, the women's tag team champions, who were promptly interrupted by Julia and Kiana James, who last week won the right to challenge for the tag team titles. We don't know when, but that match will be coming up soon. So this and the tag team title picture are addressed even further when Nia Jax and Lash Legend walk in. And everyone is bickering at each other. It was one of these segments where it just devolves into random bickering and chatter, and they're screaming at each other, and nothing of any note gets said. And then they all got separated. After this, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss make their way to the ring. And yes, in case you were wondering, they were in their full bodysuits, as all of the women will have to be in for this Royal Rumble tomorrow. So we got a little preview of what to expect. Honestly, this is going to be the saddest Royal Rumble, women's Royal Rumble that we've ever seen, because you're going to have all of these women out there. And like here in this segment, because we got Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, they ended up interrupting in a few moments here. They came out, they were basically all dressed in black. Charlotte at least had some green in her outfit. I think Alexa had some like pink trim, but they're all going to look the same, right? You'll have some women who are a lot bigger, taller, whatever. You'll be able to tell, but like you're going to have 30 women in this match. Most of them are all going to be dressed exactly the same. They're going to be in these full black bodysuits, and it's just going to be a sad sight to see. But Charlotte and Alexa, they're out there in the ring, all black from neck to toe. Charlotte stakes her claim to win the Royal Rumble. Said there's no one else that she would rather have by her side than Alexa Bliss. So that got some boos. I'm pretty sure I heard a Charlotte sucks chant coming from the crowd. So Bliss said that she has the same plan, which is to win the Royal Rumble. She talks up being the first women, or one of the first women, in a women's match in the Middle East. She wants to be the first to win the Women's Rumble in Riyadh. And Charlotte is surprised by this. And she asks if she's going to toss her, Alexa that is going to toss her out over the top rope, which got a yes chant from fans in the crowd. And Bliss asked her the same question, and then out comes Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez. So the Judgment Day ladies, they talk some smack, but they choose not to fight them in the ring because the Rumble is tomorrow, only for Nick Aldis to come out saying that if you step out onto the stage on SmackDown, that means you are qualified to fight. And so any of the two of you, pick any two members of the Judgment Day, you will now wrestle Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And it was Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Raquel stayed outside the ring. They challenged Charlotte and Alexa. Perez and Morgan, they had a game plan here in this match. And their game plan was to isolate Alexa from Charlotte all match long. Bliss, though, saw an opening. She was finally able to tag in Charlotte. She tore through the field. She hit everybody with natural selection. Roxanne got bloodied up. I want to say it was on a moonsault. Charlotte gave a moonsault to both women at the same time. I don't know if it was on the moonsault or the move right before. Her nose was bloodied up, hopefully not broken. She may have just gotten, busted in the nose. But like you could see, like Charles Robinson put the gloves on and everything, so there was definitely some blood. Morgan tried to fend Charlotte off. Raquel was interfering on their behalf when all of a sudden Stephanie Vicaire shows up at ringside, the women's world champion. And she put a stop to that. And so distracted, Bliss got a hold of Roxanne. She hit her with the Sister Abigail DDT for the win. And that was it. I mean, that was the extent to which they really did anything on this show to hype up the Women's Rumble. And I thought it was fucking weak. There wasn't a whole lot to it. Honestly, there was one more segment in the back with Jordynne Grace and Jade, who's not in the Rumble. But that was it. So compared to what they did with the men, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, they did so much more with the men. Again, there was very little they were going to be able to do to get people any more or less excited for this Rumble. You're either excited for it or you're not. This show wasn't going to do a damn thing to change that, because at this point, what the hell could they do? But for the women, it was like, they didn't do anything. Match itself was okay, but they didn't do much else. Now, Jordynne Grace, I mentioned her. She was backstage right after this with Kathy Kelly. She was looking like Silver Surfer in her full body costume, and she didn't get to say much before Jade Cargill ambushed her. As Jade then is talking that shit, Jordynne fights back, and the two women have to be broken up. When I talked about my predictions for the Women's Rumble, I do have Jordynne on my short list. I think I picked like 4 names. Bianca Belair being one, Rhea Ripley being another, Liv Morgan is another, and then Jordynne. I think it ends up being one of those 4, but I have Jordynne at the bottom. Like, I don't really expect her to win, but she at least needs to be in the conversation because she could win the Rumble and then challenge Jade at WrestleMania if a certain someone is not ready, let's say, to be cleared to come back to wrestle Jade. But even then, I think it's a stretch. You know, they're going to do this match between Jade and Jordan very soon, maybe at Elimination Chamber. I think that if Bianca Belair is not back in time to wrestle Jade, we get Charlotte Flair against Jade Cargill. Because honestly, outside of that Bianca match, because of the history there's really no bigger match for Jade as the champion going into Mania than Charlotte. And it's a match they've already teased 2 different times on television. The match with Jordan, that's not going to be the WrestleMania match. And in fact, I would not be at all shocked if Jade ends up playing a role in Jordan being eliminated from the Rumble tomorrow. Comes through the crowd, there she is at ringside, right? Distraction, Jordan gets thrown out. Just puts more heat, on the eventual match between the two. So after this, we had Johnny Gargano. And Johnny Gargano was going one-on-one with Axiom. Plan B is Tiffany, says Ace Italia. Yeah, but you know what, though? It's already been done, and I wouldn't say it was great, the first time. So Tiffany and Jade again at WrestleMania, I really don't want to see that. Do you want to see that? Is that a match that excites you? Tiffany comes back and goes right back after Jade, and we get Tiffany and Jade in Vegas. I think we could do better than that. We had Johnny Gargano and Axiom, and this is where we had the big blunder. You're going to be hearing a lot about this. The big blunder here on the show, because as Fraxium made their way out to the ring, they were supposed to put the nameplate, the name graphic, up on the screen for Axiom. They put a graphic on the screen, all right, but the graphic they put up on the screen was this one. And as you can see, oops, that's not what they meant to put up on the screen. Braun Breaker, 6 foot, 250 pounds. I love how they put the little American flag there. They're going to tell you where everybody is from when they come out. Entrant number 1. So Braun Breaker, his entrance into the Royal Rumble tomorrow, spoiled by the production team. And that's funny. I just talked about LOL TNA. I mean, we always talk about LOL TNA. I mean, forever. Now, and forever. But on the show on Sunday, I talked about their little snafu on their TNA Plus streaming service after the show last week when they kept the audio going for like 15 minutes. And so they ended up spoiling some upcoming matches and who was getting one of the Feast or Fired briefcases. Like, we already knew then that Eddie Edwards won the briefcase for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship match. 15 minutes in, someone realized, oh shit, the audio's going out. We better cut this off. LOL TNA. Well, you know what? LOL WWE, because that's a pretty big fuck up right there. Now, to be fair, I think many people, and I said it myself, probably figured that Braun Breaker had a pretty good shot at entering the Rumble in number 1. Now, if there's anything that surprises me, when they did that angle on Monday, where Adam Pearce called Braun Breaker back in to reinstate him, I thought for sure that the follow-up to that, right, the caveat was going to be, you're back, but you're entering the Rumble in number 1. They didn't do that. There's some other story, I guess, that's playing out because he was very nice to the Vision. He was very nice to Paul Heyman. Something's up there. But I was just waiting. I was waiting for it. And then it never happened. So him entering at number 1, I don't know if the idea there is that Pierce didn't articulate it on Monday, but that was sort of the catch where he had to enter at number 1. They just didn't know it. Or that was just the plan, that he was just going to enter at number 1. I don't know. So it was a surprise, but not a huge surprise to see that. And we'll see, like this show. Now, I watched the show earlier, obviously, with my Express VPN on Netflix. This show will be airing later tonight on USA Network here in the States. And it'll be very interesting to see if they keep that graphic up or if they do a little editing and they take that out. They could also just move him to a different number. Like they could have him come out in the Ric Flair spot from 92. And instead of him coming out at number 1 or 2, which are basically the same thing, have him come out at number 3. Like it's really not that big of a deal. But if he was going to come out at number 1, I would imagine Triple H is sitting back there going, fuck, What are you doing? Like, how does that happen? So we'll see if they edit that out of the broadcast later. But Johnny Gargano and Axiom here, they've had this little story going on now for a few weeks. It's generally terrible. I mean, it's not offensively bad. It's just, whatever. I mean, he stole his mask weeks ago. What happened is Tommaso Ciampa decided, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm leaving. I'm not renewing my contract. And so that put them in a tough spot as far as Gargano goes because he was part of a tag team. We would be getting DIY and Fraxium feuding right now. But Ciampa's gone. So they came up with this story, this silly story with the mask. And so that's what we've had now for weeks. Johnny Gargano stole his mask and Axiom wants his mask back, but he won't give it back. And so they've been fighting over this mask. So they were supposed to wrestle here. Fraxium's already out there. We cut backstage. Johnny is back there with Candice LeRae, and they're on their way out to the ring when they get stopped by Nick Aldis, who informs them that Candice, not only is she barred from ringside for this match, but if Johnny loses this match, then he must give the mask back to Axiom. Now, I don't really understand that because the mask is not his property. He should just take the mask. Why didn't he just order Johnny to hand over the mask or else you're suspended? Right? That would be a general manager with some balls. The mask is not his property. It doesn't belong to him. It was stolen. Why doesn't he just demand that he give the mask back? He didn't do that. If Johnny wins the match, I guess he gets to keep the mask. So they're not very happy about it. So basically the lesson here that you all need to be aware of is that now look at what we've had on SmackDown now. Look at the wonderful creating. You wonder why Roman Reigns is, even though he was in character when he said it, lashing out at creative when he was on ESPN or whatever show he was, Pat McAfee's show. The wonderful creative here. We have had in the last several weeks, in terms of the big storylines playing out here on this show, Solo Sikoa stealing a lantern from Uncle Howdy.
Curiosity is killing me just like a cat would be killed by the curiosity, yeah.
We have had Solo Sikoa stealing a lantern from Uncle Howdy. And we have had Johnny Gargano stealing a mask from Axiom. So the moral of the story is here, if you work on SmackDown, if you are a member of the SmackDown roster, you better lock your shit up real tight because people have sticky fingers back there and your property is liable to walk off on its own. We have two of basically the same storyline playing out on the same show, and neither one of these stories are even any good, but they're doing them at the same time. Stolen property here on this show. This is why I respect Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce is the best general manager in wrestling right now. Notice I didn't say the best commissioner in wrestling, but he is the best general manager. See, I wouldn't tolerate this shit. If I had some House of Glory talents come up to me in the back and go, Solomonster, my shit was laying right here, and now it's not there. Then I found out that another wrestler took his stuff. He took his gloves, and he refuses to give them back. I'm going to lay down the law, and I'm going to say, you give that shit back right now, or I'm going to have security escort you out the door, right? I wouldn't allow that shit, because that's what a real authority figure does. Adam Pearce, man, I give him a lot of credit. On Monday nights, he's laying down the law. He's got veins bulging out of his neck. He's got spit flying out of his mouth. He's got a drinking problem, which, we understand that. But at least he gets shit done. Nick Aldis, man, he has to get on the ball here with this. So late in the match, Axiom heads to the corner, and he grabs his old mask. He's got the mask, and he's looking for the golden ratio. When he ate a thrust kick by Gargano, and Gargano then rips the mask that he's currently wearing off of his head. So now Gargano is like holding it up and parading it around, right, like a trophy. Meanwhile, Axiom takes the old mask, the blue and white one, slips it on over his head. It's like it reinvigorates him. And now when Gargano turns around, he gets blasted with the golden ratio. And then Axiom covers him and he gets the win. So at least the mask story is now over, because with that win, Axiom now has his mask back. And we can finally be done with this. Now, what that means for the future of Johnny Gargano, I guess he has to go steal something else. What else can Johnny Gargano steal? That'll be his new gimmick. He just goes around stealing stuff. We've already had a lantern. We've had a mask. I'm trying to think, what other objects do people bring out to the ring with them here on this show usually? Who else comes out with like some sort of object, like a walking stick or something? Oh, Michin. Michin usually has her kendo stick. He could steal Michin's kendo stick, and then when they can feud Michin and Candice LeRae. Great creative. Anyway, that was it. Ciampa just debuted on Dynamite this week. He'll have a little bit of a run here at the beginning, and then we'll see where Ciampa settles in. But for Gargano, I honestly don't know. It's not good. It's not good for his future. So backstage, Carmelo Hayes, he tried to reassure Ilya Dragunov. Look, I don't know what Miz was talking about earlier, but I had nothing to do with what happened last week. And Dragunov did not seem convinced of this. He says he doesn't care. He's focused on beating the Miz tonight, and then he's going to look ahead to the future. He expects that Melo will give him another crack at the U.S. title. I have to point out, though, they were backstage. I actually really like this. They were backstage, but in this new stadium that they built, it's an outdoor stadium. So they're in like a backstage room or hallway or whatever, but there's no roof. So it was kind of weird. Like you just look up and you see the tops of like some of the buildings and skyscrapers in the background, even though they were backstage. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a cool look. But AJ Styles was out to the ring next to address what could very well be his final WWE match tomorrow night at the Royal Rumble, one-on-one with Gunther. And he welcomed everybody to SmackDown, which he pointed out is the house that AJ Styles built. He was in the area. He figured he would stop by and say hello. He's got kind of a big match tomorrow. Because some of you are a little worried about tomorrow, but don't be. In fact, he's going to knock Gunther's teeth down his throat, and when he beats Gunther tomorrow, it's the beginning of the phenomenal farewell tour. And we get our one more times. We're going to get one more time against Cody Rhodes. We're going to get one more time against Randy Orton. Fans started chanting CM Punk's name. So he said one more time with CM Punk. So Gunther interrupted. And he appeared at ringside like he teleported there. He climbed up on top of the announce desk. He was in his suit. Hey, Kelton, what's going on? Member for 12 months. Says, yo, Solomonster on the afternoon drive. Let's go. There you go. The best afternoon radio that you'll find. Solomonster, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I love it. So Gunther is standing on top of the announce desk. And he appreciates AJ having that much fantasy about his future, but none of what he just said is going to happen because deep down, AJ already knows that he made a mistake so severe that it's going to cost him his career. Tomorrow at the Royal Rumble, he's going to end AJ's career the same way that he did to AJ's little buddy, John Cena. He's going to make him tap out. And Styles said that he's real funny because maybe it takes one to know one, because the last time he checked, Gunther is the one who tapped out. Like a little bitch. So Gunther jumped down. He tore off his jacket. He got up on the apron. AJ was fixing for a fight. And then Gunther thought better of it. He dropped down, grabbed his jacket, and he walked to the back through the crowd. I've talked a lot about this whole AJ Styles situation and how if they were going to keep him around, they've really booked themselves into a corner here, to the point where between that and the Nakamura post that he quickly deleted, all signs point to this being his last match tomorrow in WWE. I don't know how they get out of this. I really don't. I mean, you could do a match where AJ wins, but he wins by disqualification. I think I threw out the idea on TNT the other night. They could do the Eddie Guerrero finish where, with a chair or something where, he smashes it, the referee doesn't hear it, he throws it to Gunther, drops down. Because that spot always gets a pop. But imagine if it got a pop because it resulted in AJ being able to continue wrestling, right? I actually don't think people would mind that finish very much. And if they were going to build to another match between them, that would be one way to do it. I don't see it. I mean, all signs point to Gunther winning this match. The idea of Gunther even losing is ridiculous because he just beat John Cena, got the biggest win of his career by retiring John Cena by making him tap. Well, don't get me started on that, but John Cena decided to tap out. And so the month after, the idea that the month after that, they're going to have Gunther lose to AJ Styles is just mind-boggling to me. It doesn't make sense. The fact that they went to this stipulation now instead of waiting for Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania or some later show, the fact that they rushed matches on television with AJ and Gunther at all, AJ and CM Punk, AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura, like one last time, we got to get this shit in. It's Saturday night's main event. This whole thing seems like they are just rushing through it. They're speed running through it because they know that he is done. Nothing else makes sense to me. Nothing they did tonight here in this segment changed my mind that I think AJ is losing tomorrow. My belief now, and again, maybe part of it is me just kind of hoping to will this into existence. My hope now is that he loses tomorrow, but we get the chance to get a real, true AJ Styles retirement tour. John Cena had a retirement tour last year. Sure. But you know what? John Cena only ever worked in one place. So it was his WWE retirement tour. AJ Styles has worked multiple people in multiple places in multiple parts of the world. And the idea that he might get a real true retirement tour where he doesn't just wrestle in WWE, he gets to go to other places, finish old rivalries, maybe wrestle someone he's never worked with before, and get a real retirement run. When, you know, all is said and done, he'll look back and be like, all right, I had the chance to go here, 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 and work all these people. And see, I like that idea. That would be very cool. The idea of starting out the year and within the first 31 days, his career is over. To me, I mean, I don't see it. I don't see him being fully done tomorrow, but done in WWE. Yeah, that I can see. I don't really see there being any other outcome to this. But him going to TNA or him going to AEW and having some matches or even Japan, that I like. That would be very cool to see. That's what I'm hoping is what we get out of this. And then he could always come back to WWE. Like the idea of him going to WWE and saying, okay, this is what I'd like to do. My contract is up anyway. Just so you guys know, so it doesn't catch you off guard. This is what I'm planning on doing. And then hopefully we could do business again at some point. And he can work in whatever role, whatever capacity he wants to work in, whether he wants to be an advisor, a scout, a trainer, whatever. I'm sure WWE would be more than happy to welcome back AJ Styles. Because if anybody deserves that level of respect, where the company is like, okay, you do what you got to do. We give you our, not that he needs their permission if his contract is up, but you know what I mean? Like, I would hope that in that situation, there's no angst, bad feelings, ill will on WWE's part if he was, let's say, to pop up in AEW to have like a short run there. Because this is a guy who deserves to go out the way that he wants to. And should not be, you know, kind of roped into this bitterness and tribalism. I don't think there's any tribalism among the actual talents. I think the talents themselves have said that. But we know there's a lot of really bitter feelings on the part of the people who run these companies. They don't like each other. The counter programming and just the pettiness. They're competing from the same talent pool. They're not friends. They don't work together. There's no partnership there like there is between WWE and TNA. But I would hope that AJ can go out and do whatever it is that he wants to do. And when that's over, he could always come back to WWE and do something else. I think he's earned that. He's earned that right. So backstage, we saw Shinsuke Nakamura. He was watching what just happened out there when Tama Tonga showed up. What happened, he said. So he used to be the man, the king of strong style. The man that he knew would have beaten AJ's ass last week. Oh, hold on. Wait just a second. We got some tunes.
Mick Wayne, can't you see? Go away and leave me be. likes this song cause I'm in love with Nick Wayne's mom.
Nick Wayne's mom
Love it.
has got it going on.
Love it.
Nick Wayne's mom has gotta love this song.
Hey, Keegan, that put a smile on my face. It's been a while. It has been a while. The $28 Nick Wayne's Mom song. I haven't heard that in forever. Thank you, Keegan. Says, I usually miss the streams live. Much love from Ohio. I'll get to the rest of your super chat a little bit later on, but thank you very much, Keegan. If I'm going to be interrupted, I would like to be interrupted by Nick Wayne's mom. So I'll allow it. I'm okay with that. But yeah, Tama Tonga was insulting him and basically saying, look, the old Shinsuke Nakamura would have beaten AJ's ass last week. Maybe it's time for you to follow AJ out the door on the Shinsuke Sayonara tour. So Nakamura called him a young punk, spoke some Japanese, and then told him, see you in the ring next week. Finally. They've been teasing this match for like 2 months. At least we're going to get it out of the way next week. And it's funny because Michael Cole on commentary, every time these two were together in the scene, he keeps going like, oh, the history between these two. But they never actually articulate what that history is. They just tell you that there's history there. Now, if you're a WWE fan who knows nothing of New Japan, you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? When has Shinsuke Nakamura had history with Tama Tonga? Hopefully, I mean, it would be nice. I know they don't, they're not exactly partners, the two companies, but still. If you're going to mention that, you at least need to give a little more context to what that means. We had The Miz against Ilya Dragunov. This was the best Miz match in forever. It was more competitive also than probably a lot of you would think. Miz even got to kick out of a Constantine special. He countered an H-bomb attempt into a DDT, but later on, Miz made a cardinal mistake. Came flying off the top rope. Actually landed on his feet first, but he came off the top rope right into a Torpedo Moscow. And Dragunov followed that up with an H-bomb for the win. You know, it was looking like they were coming back around to Melo and Miz and actually doing a match. It's kind of hard to believe that as long as those two were working together as partners and then they split, we never got a match. We never got a match between Melo and Miz. And they got away from it, and I'm like, okay, they dropped it. I'm okay with that. But then they kind of circled back around to it. And now I'm wondering if we're going to get the match at all, because he just went in there and lost to Dragunov. Dragunov has already said, I want Melo again. And so I don't know. I mean, what would be even the purpose now of doing Melo against Miz if Dragunov is next in line? But then again, I mean, I guess Miz was spreading lies about him earlier in the show. But I'm 50-50 on whether or not we're actually going to get this Melo and Miz match. But you know, this isn't about the Miz. At the end of the day, the Miz is more of a means to an end. It's not really about the Miz. It's about getting another match between Melo and Dragunov, which I am looking forward to. I was not looking forward to this next segment here. We got a pre-tape with the MFTs. They won the tag team titles last week from the Wyatt Six here on this show. And it was Solo sitting at the table, and then his family members were standing behind him. And Solo says that they made good on their promises. He took Uncle Howdy's lantern and the Wyatt's tag team titles. He's a man of his word, but these titles, they're not for him. And he hands the belt off to Tonga Loa, who then, along with Tama Tonga, they put the belts over Tala Tonga's shoulders. So now he's standing there with both belts. So I don't know if that means the champions are now going to be Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, or what the plan is. That's the impression I got from this. Solo said the job is not done yet, because now he's going to go and win the Royal. I'm going to try to say this with a straight face. He's going to go in there and he's going to win the Royal Rumble. And when he wins the Royal Rumble, he'll be bringing the undisputed WWE Championship back to the family. Yeah. I will shave my head bald on a live stream if Solo Sikoa wins the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Okay, on the long list of things that will not happen tomorrow, that's certainly one of them. But then the video glitches, and it transitions into a Wyatt Six promo. And we hear from Bo Dallas, who tells Solo that he's wrong. Our lantern and the tag team championships will come back to the Wyatt Six, and when they do, the millions of fireflies around the world will illuminate the insecurities of Solo Sikoa. They will not only take back what belongs to them, but they will make Solo's greed his demise. Very good. And then it was time for our 8-man tag team main event. It was our 8-man tag team main event with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Jay. Bro thinks he's Roman. Dude, I can't. I just can't take it seriously. When I see him sitting at the head of the table like that, it's Temu Bloodline. I can't. I cannot take them seriously. I just can't do it. He's cosplaying as Roman Reigns. But we're supposed to take him seriously when he says stuff like this. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn against Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. Now, Sami Zayn was out, I think, second to last for the baby faces. So Cody still... Oh, Kyrie arrived. Oh, man. Yeah, it's funny. I got an email from someone, and I apologize. I forgot who it was. I was going through a bunch of emails yesterday. Or maybe it was a Facebook message. No, it was David. I think it was David. Shout out to David. But anyway, he sent me a message floating the idea of the possibility that Kairi Sane could win the Women's Royal Rumble. With the idea that the longest story, outside, I guess, of like Rhea not being able to ever beat Io, the longest story on the women's side that they have really been telling is this whole relationship, right, between Asuka and Kairi, and how Kairi is always, cowering in fear from this woman, and she's already vowed to help Asuka win the Royal Rumble. I'm not even sure if Kairi's in the Rumble, honestly. I don't know if she's just going to come out and be in her corner outside. I don't know if she's going to be an entrant in the Rumble. But he was basically saying that Kairi should win the Rumble, and then they should build to Kairi against Asuka at WrestleMania. And I don't remember what he said about how we get there. If like Asuka, I guess, would have to win the belt before then and beat Stephanie for it. Like, I give him points for being creative. It's not going to happen. But he's not wrong when he says that when you look at the women's division on either brand, like, they have invested a lot of time in sort of, I think, creating this sympathetic character in Kairi where you want to see her break away from Asuka and stand up to her. And I think they should do that at some point. But the idea of that being, the WrestleMania match for the championship, I think that's being very generous. So Sammy was out like second to last here. Cody had still not come out yet, and the Vision blindsided the three men in the ring before Cody finally comes running out for the save to his music. And the Vision got sent out of the ring before they cut to commercial. Jey Uso, he sent Braun Breaker to the corner for some punches before knocking him down to the mat. Cody tagged in for a few shots on Breaker before tagging Sammy back in. They trade tags as they are trying to wear down Braun Breaker. Number 1 in the Royal Rumble tomorrow for now. Cody reaches for a tag to Orton. Like, he's teasing, like, you want me to tag this guy? And of course the fans are like, yes, we like him more than you. And Cody's in there, he's hot dogging it. He's hot dogging it. He's showboating. And of course he wastes too much time. And Breaker takes him down to the mat instead. So in comes Bronson Reed and the two big men, the two Bronze. They're working over Cody. And soon it's all the members of the Vision that are tagging in and out and working over the former WWE champion. Cody again scrambles to his corner for a tag, to no avail. Tag made to Logan, who sends Cody to the corner for a splash, but Cody avoids it. Sammy and Jay, they get knocked off the apron. Bronson Reed misses a splash. That finally allows Cody to get the hot tag to Randy that they were building to. Theory takes a dump. Theory takes a draping... Oh my God. Theory takes a... I don't know. So Theory takes a draping DDT. Logan blindsides Orton to stop an RKO, but then he gets sent out of the ring by Sammy. So it's absolute madness right now. Reed tries to clear the ring. He got low bridged out over the top by Cody, which if that happens tomorrow, he'll be eliminated from the Royal Rumble. So Cody gets sent out of the ring by Theory. Theory then eats an RKO from Randy Orton. So he covers him. Logan Paul breaks up the cover. Cody comes in for a crossroads before Reed takes him down. Sammy gets in on the action. He sends Bronson Reed down with a tornado DDT before setting him up for a haluva kick. When Drew McIntyre appears at ringside and he pulls Sammy out of the ring. So we got a cheap disqualification finish here to this match. So the attack on Sammy continues until we hear Jacob Fatu's music. And he got the full entrance where they turn the lights down and they shoot the flames up on the stage. No Jacob Fatu, because instead he showed up in the ring behind McIntyre and he sends Drew outside, hits a suicide dive. Cody then follows with a suicide dive of his own out onto Jacob. And then he sends Fatu into the post and the steps. McIntyre grabs Cody. He sends Cody into the ring post and he puts him back into the ring. And Drew is setting up for a Claymore kick and he starts the countdown. 3, 2, 1. But as he's counting down, Sami Zayn gets back into the ring and he rushes into the corner and he connects on a haluva kick to Drew McIntyre. So Sami now looks down at the WWE Championship that Drew left behind in the ring. And he's staring at it. And he slowly bends over to go to pick it up. But before he can, Cody's hand comes in. And Cody grabs the other end of the belt. And they both pick the belt up and they start, exchanging words. Then they turn at the same moment because Braun Breaker gets into the ring and he spears both of them down. And that is how SmackDown went off the air with Braun Breaker standing tall. They were taken out by number 1 in the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Or whatever number they end up giving him now. So in terms of the current roster, a lot of star power here in this match. The entire Vision, Cody, Randy, Sammy, they were all in the match. Jay was out there too. And it was fine for what it was. I was not expecting a clean finish. I mean, it doesn't make it any less cheap than it was, but I'm not shocked that they didn't want to beat anybody. I thought if they were going to beat anybody, it would have been Austin Theory. Like when he ate the RKO, I honestly thought that was it. So once that cover got broken up, I was like, all right, someone's going to come out and there's going to be a big DQ, no contest. One big takeaway. If I actually had one big takeaway from this show tonight, the big takeaway is that it would be a huge mistake for Cody Rhodes to win this Royal Rumble tomorrow. Now, I would have told you that a week ago. I would have told you that 3 weeks ago. Cody Rhodes winning 3 Royal Rumbles in 4 years, okay? Now you're in Hogan territory, okay? You are now in that territory where the fans are going to actively turn against you. If you send him out there to win his 3rd Rumble in 4 years, you heard the fans in the opening segment when Cody was out there. They booed him. Even him bringing up the possibility of winning the Royal Rumble got him booed. And it wasn't like a few fans in the front row. Like, he was booed. They do not want to see him win the Rumble. And it's not like he's going heel tomorrow. So what you're going to end up with is your top babyface being booed out of the building. Okay, just like 2014 all over again, 2015 all over again. Is that what you want? I don't think so. And I think they know that. I hope so. So Cody Rhodes does not need to be winning the Royal Rumble tomorrow. The crowd made that clear. I still think that the men's Rumble belongs to Roman Reigns. And I said this when I did my predictions. It's not that I want Roman Reigns to win. I don't. I really don't. Like, I'd be okay with Braun Breaker winning. I'd be fine with Jacob Fatu winning. I'd be okay with them going, fuck it, we're going to go big. We're going to debut Obafemi. We're going to have him win the Royal Rumble, right? I don't expect that to happen, though. Realistically, I think Roman Reigns, who's still a big star, is going to win the Rumble. And Obafemi will hopefully at least have his moment, his statement that he makes by eliminating Brock Lesnar. Because I do believe that that's going to end up being the WrestleMania match. So I think that he'll at least have that moment for himself in the Rumble. Braun, look, is he going to end up being number 1? Are they going to swap his number out for number 2 or number 3? Maybe, but clearly he's going to be entering very early, if not number 1 in the Rumble. He's going to be the guy who I think gets a whole shitload of eliminations. And he comes in early and he's going to be one of the final 4 or 5 in the Rumble. So he may end up being the Iron Man too. Like, they will have him go on a monster run in that match, but I don't think he wins. Although if Roman doesn't win, Breakker would probably be my number 2, realistically, in terms of who I think wins. I just feel like they've telegraphed it too much. You know, but maybe in their mind, if he is forced to enter at number 1, you know, again, in their head, it's like, oh, well, not that it's never happened before, but he's entering at number 1. Boy, yeah, the odds are against him winning the Royal Rumble here. But I just think everything has been set up for him. Like, all the members of the Vision on Monday coming out and saying that we all agree Braun should win the Rumble. It's too clean. You know what I mean? Like, it would almost be too predictable if he was to win the Rumble. And if the goal is to get him to challenge, let's say, Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship again at WrestleMania, there are other ways that you can get there. There are other avenues that you can explore to get to that point. But I do think Roman Reigns is winning the Men's Rumble, and I think if Bianca Belair makes her return tomorrow, she wins the Women's Rumble. If Bianca Belair does not return in the Women's Rumble tomorrow, then Liv Morgan wins the Rumble. And that's how I see those 2 matches playing out there. But I don't think this show here did a whole hell of a lot to get anybody excited for the Women's Royal Rumble. I don't see how you can watch this show and be like, oh man, now I'm pumped to see that match. You either are or you're not. But this show didn't do anything to sway you one way or the other. They did a marginally better job as far as the Men's Rumble goes. And again, the retirement stipulation adds a lot of drama, you know, to the AJ Styles match. I think the match placement on that will be very interesting. I don't see them closing the show with it. I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility. You know, if AJ was going to lose, that they wouldn't want to end with it and give him, you know, kind of the time to wave goodbye and have that dramatic walk to the back. But, you know, even more so if he's going to lose, I don't know that they want to end on a sour note like that. So do they open the show with it? I don't know. I'm very curious. You don't have a lot of matches on the show. So I would imagine they want to start with the Women's Rumble and then have the 2 singles matches, but maybe not. Maybe they open with the AJ match and then they have the Women's Rumble and then the title match and then the Men's Rumble. You know, it all depends on what they have planned here for a finish. But AJ retiring from WWE to go have a real retirement tour, I'm totally on board with that. AJ retiring on Saturday and truly being done, I'm not on board with that, but it's not my decision to make. You know, he's 48 years old. I'm sure it's not easy for him to get all prepped and go out there and compete and perform at a level that people expect AJ Styles to perform at, right? He's not just another wrestler. He's AJ fucking Styles. So there's certain expectations that people have when he goes out there. So as a 48-year-old professional wrestler, right, those expectations are still very high. I can understand in his mind where it's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is my last year. I'm done. I can't be that guy anymore. It's the same reason that John Cena gave for why he decided now was the time. Could I go out there and have some good matches? Sure. But it takes a lot out of me. Like the match he had with Cody at SummerSlam, he said, that's as good as I can give. I can't do any better than that. And then he went out there at Crown Jewel and he had the match that he had with AJ. So he still has it in him. But you just get to a point where physically it's like, I can't. You know, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy who goes out there and overstays his welcome and people look at me and go, man, you know, you should have seen this guy when he was really good. Right? Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be that person. So you get out now. You get out when you are still at that level. I get it. I understand it. I'm not ready to accept it. That's all. And also, I have to say, I was disappointed with that match on Monday. Maybe I'm in the minority on that, but I wouldn't mind seeing him and Punk have the chance to go out and have one more shot at it. I just was very underwhelmed by that match on Monday night. I suspect that will not be the case with him and Gunther tomorrow. Now, I did not get a Twitter poll up because I just didn't see the point since a lot of people haven't watched the show yet. But I will just remind all of you, the plan for tomorrow is to go live on YouTube, not immediately after the Rumble. I figure the Rumble is going to probably go from 2 to 6, right? Probably be about 4 hours. I'm going to give myself to eat and get ready, and then 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So that is the plan to go live on YouTube. We will talk about the Royal Rumble, which I am, fingers crossed, optimistic that it'll be a very good show. I also want to just say this here before I get into all of your super chats. So if you got something to say or contribute, get them on in. But I just wanted to wish the best of luck to all the men and women of House of Glory who I know are going to go out there tonight in Los Angeles and kill it. Tonight is our LA debut, City of Angels. And there's some good shit planned for that show. We got Andrade and Red and a bunch of other matches as well on that card. And it'll be live on Triller TV, 11 o'clock Eastern tonight. I wish I could be there, but I will be back for our next show. First New York City show of the year, February 20th. At the NYC Arena with the AEW World Champion, MJF, appearing live. His first appearance in House of Glory since 2018. He was a very different performer back then. A lot has happened in the career of MJF since the last time he was in House of Glory. So that's going to be a very big show, and I'm looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and get into your messages here. As promised, should come to Allentown or Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We were in Philadelphia, brother. We've been to Philadelphia twice, so you never know. You never know. Hey, Joseph Stewart. Hope you're having a great Friday, brother. Man, I haven't heard somebody mention the Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk show for a while. But for me, it was the Adam West Batman show. So I'm going with that one. Have I seen the new Masters of the Universe toys online based off the movie? They have new toys out, huh? No, I have not seen that. I actually have not seen that. Masters or oh. Yeah, that's a hard one for me. I would probably go with Turtles, but that's a tough one. Happy birthday to Christian Bale. You didn't tell me how old he was. Have I seen the Christian Bale movie American Psycho? I have. Bale in The Dark Knight or Bale in American Psycho? Bale in American Psycho. The Prestige. Believe it or not, I never saw The Prestige. I did hear it was a great movie, which I'm sure it is. I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. But I did not see it. Well, we have some breaking news here. Hold on a second here. All right, so we do have some breaking news, which I will bring to you right now. It was an announcement, has nothing to do with the Royal Rumble, but it was an announcement made on her Instagram by the NXT general manager Ava, the daughter of The Rock. Posted a message that just says thank you, and in the actual image, it says, "This past Tuesday was my last appearance on NXT and subsequently WWE. Thank you to all who have cheered, watched, and supported me through my journey. While my decision to not renew my contract was very difficult, it's also a new turning point in my life. It has been an honor and a privilege to be Ava." So that means that NXT needs a new authority figure, you say? I know somebody who will clean that place up. Well, look, all the best to her. She obviously made the decision herself not to renew. So Ava is now gone from WWE, and they will have to come up with a new GM, whoever that may be. I'm seeing a mixed reaction to this in the chat. Well, I'm being generous here. It's not really all that mixed. Was there a lot of hate for Ava? I don't watch NXT week to week in the way that I used to. So I mean, she didn't bother me too much, but I didn't realize there was this level of hatred for Ava. Solomonster for GM. Hey, look. HBK, I'm just saying. If you want to have that conversation, I'm more than happy. I know there's a lot of chaos that goes on in NXT. I feel like it would be a total shit show trying to keep things in order there, but I'm not saying I'm against the idea. Were you a fan of Shawn Michaels against Sid at Royal Rumble 97 for the WWE Championship? It's one of my favorite matches at the Royal Rumble. You know, I'm not really a big fan of that match. I'm a bigger fan of their Survivor Series match. It's not a bad match. I like the Survivor Series match better. Says, I hope you had a great week, Solomonster. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. Take care. Well, I wish you the same. Hopefully you'll be able to join, Joseph. About 9 p.m. or so tomorrow night. You're available? Drop by. Well, the only thing is, if I was going to be the general manager on NXT, how would that affect Tuesday Night Titans? I already have a Tuesday night gig that's going pretty well. So there would have to be some adjustments made there. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if people would like that very much. Joseph also says, sad news, Catherine O'Hara passed away. Rest in peace. Yes, I did see that a few hours ago, and I'm very bummed. I really enjoyed her work. For those who don't know, Catherine O'Hara, famous actress. I think she was only 71. Did they say she was 71? She was very young. But apparently she was, I think, being treated for some form of cancer, and she passed away. So, hey, Joe, what's going on? Shout out, Joe. But yeah, Catherine O'Hara, I guess the first movie I would have seen her in was probably, which one came first? Home Alone or Beetlejuice? Because it was one of those two. Home Alone, Beetlejuice. She was the doctor, the therapist on The Last of Us. She's actually really funny on that show. On a show that is not meant to be a comedy, but she kind of brought some humor and comedic relief to the show. And then I guess she was also on that show, Schitt's Creek, but I never saw the show, so I don't know what her role was on that show. But anyway, I'm very sad to hear that. That sucks. And the Mount Vernon kid, Christopher Bennett, also mentioning the news. Another legend has transitioned to eternal glory. Been blessed with their legacy. Rest in peace, Catherine O'Hara. We got Lord, what is that? Lord Steph Lord. Ray Phoenix had a match on live TV. I must be dreaming. Also, somebody called Penta, his brother, has been found. No need for random tag partners anymore. It's funny to me, like the different people that both of them have tagged with, but not with each other. We can't do that. We can't put them together. We can't let them team with each other. That will never not be funny to me. Holiday 197. Hey Solo, I think promotion on the Royal Rumble has been downplayed due to the pay-per-view being in Saudi, as they may fear negative press. I wonder if WrestleMania next year will also be downplayed with the promotion. No, I don't think that has anything to do with it at all. I think if there's any sort of Saudi reason for why the build was so lackluster, I think it's just because they didn't have to worry about selling tickets. They didn't have to worry about certain things that normally they would have to worry about if they were running like a baseball stadium, let's say, here in the States. They had their talent out in full force all over ESPN and other shows this week. So it's not like they've been hiding the idea that they were running in Saudi this weekend. So do not excuse their weak promotion for this show based on that, because I don't think that really has anything to do with it. Joseph Morris, I'm tired of Liv being runner-up in the Rumble. She deserves the Rumble more than anyone else on the women's roster. Uh-oh. Don't let BlissFan hear you say that. BlissFan is adamant that Alexa Bliss needs to win the Royal Rumble. He will not hear any other opinion on who should win the Rumble other than Alexa Bliss should win the Rumble. Well, like I said, Liv is my prediction if Bianca is not in it. Nick Grasso, rest in peace, Catherine O'Hara. She was great in Home Alone and Beetlejuice. She was in the second Beetlejuice as well. Forgot to mention that. Second Beetlejuice was not as good as the first one. But she was in both movies. Kevin, oh my God. Midday Monster. Let's go. Damn right. Damn straight. Scumdog420. Thank you again for the super chat and the gifted memberships earlier, brother. That is very much appreciated. We got Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury. I went to MLW Battle Riot last night. I didn't have Luke Gallows coming out as Festus on my bingo card, but it was funny as hell. He's a funny guy. He actually is a very funny guy. Dried Chicken says Triple H takes less is more to a whole new level. The hype for the Royal Rumble is ice cold like winter. Don't remind me of this weather. Ridiculous. I woke up this morning and it was 7 degrees outside. So all the shit that's laying outside, it ain't going nowhere. It's just mounds of ice and snow everywhere. And there's no end in sight. It's going to be freezing for at least another 2 weeks. We might even get more snow. Why do I live here? Why am I still here? Why am I in New York? I don't like the snow. Why am I still here? Super Pony, Final Four will be Roman, Brock, Jay, and Cody because they hate us. Let me tell you something. If Jey Uso is in the Final Four of this Rumble, that would not be good. That would not be good. Prince Vegeta says, doesn't Drew still have a movie to film? In that case, do you think they will do a title change tomorrow? I hope not. It's too soon to take the belt off of Drew. Well, he's going to be filming for that new Highlander movie. He's the brother of the main character. And I haven't been able to find any sort of clarity on exactly when he is filming. My understanding was he was filming in April, but I don't think they need him for a lot of filming. So if, let's say, he was filming for like a week or two at the beginning of April, then it doesn't really impact anything. So I wouldn't read too much into it. Drew is not losing the belt tomorrow. Jerome Eugenio. Actually, Deputy Dog, you make a great point. He says, see, Solo, another reason you should take the GM role for NXT. You can move to Florida. Yeah, but who wants to move to Florida? That's another place. Like, you got to board up your shit when the hurricanes come. You got to deal with Florida man stories every day. Old people driving in front of you at 15 miles an hour. As a New Yorker, I mean, that would just, I would lose my mind. Jerome says, will we ever see another 2-person winner in one Rumble again? I think we will. I think they want to let some more time go by. I mean, it was 1994. I guess we've already had 30 plus years, but I think at some point, I'm trying to think. You know what though? All right, so I take that back. I thought you were talking more about like 2 people going out over the top at the same time. If you mean what they did in 94, where they both go out and then they just declare 2 winners, then no, that we will never see again. That was stupid when they did it in 94. And it would be even dumber if they did it again now. I remember watching in 94, and I was a lot younger back then. And I'm watching that going, what are they doing? Just ring the bell and restart the Rumble. Why do we have co-winner? Like, you could hear the crowd groan when they made the announcement that we had co-winners. Like, I'm sure that there was nobody watching that show who was like, oh, this is cool. Or, oh, I agree with this finish. Like, you know, it was stupid then and it would be stupid now. But two people going out over the top and having some controversy or, restarting it or something, yeah, that I think we'll have again at some point. I mean, it happened with Cena and Batista, but that was an accident. That wasn't supposed to happen. MGM ballin'. What's going on, man? He's ballin'. I turned 26 today, but received a great gift when I was watching TNT last night and saw you guys hysterical laughing at my stupid motorboat joke. It made my night. I keep laughing every time I watch. Well, that's why I brought it up again. I said I hate myself for laughing at that. And then I found out that you used it with him as well. He had already heard it, but we laughed anyway because it was just so stupid. How could you not laugh? Anyway, happy birthday, MGM. I hope you have a great birthday. Go out on Friday night, celebrate. Hit the club. Wink the Cosmic Grandma. In a perfect world, who do you pick to be the booker of WWE? And is Vampiro a better booker than Triple H? I can't speak to how good or bad of a booker Vampiro is. I'm going to say probably not. In a perfect world, there isn't that one person that this person needs to run creative in WWE. They need to hire Scott D'Amore to do I don't know who that one person is. I really don't. I don't know if Paul Heyman would be any better or any worse than Triple H. Paul Heyman is already a voice in the room. How different would creative be if he was the one running it? I don't know. It might be marginally better. Part of me thinks we need a totally new voice. A younger, totally new voice in the room and not the same old brigade that's been there for decades. The Triple H's and the Paul Heymans and the Michael Hayes and Bruce Pritchard. It's the same shit over and over and over again, 30, 40 fucking years. Maybe we need someone completely new that we're not thinking of. I don't know who that person would be. Don't say me. I don't want that job. I don't want that. I don't want my hair to go totally gray. I don't need that. Dried Chicken says the women wrestling in the Royal Rumble will need to drink lots of water. People are joking about that. Is it really that hot over there like this time of year? When I checked the weather yesterday, I think it said it was like 53 degrees. Is it really going to be that hot tomorrow? I mean, I know it's Riyadh, but like this time of year, is it not a little bit cooler over there? I don't know, man. I'm asking. I don't know. Toya. So Damien is in and Finn is not. Hilarious. Yeah, it's basically just a freaking inside joke on this poor guy now. Holiday says, I'm not a fan of the MFTs, but surely they could have worked with the Street Profits or the Motor City Machine Guns unless they're saving an MFT versus Profits match for WrestleMania. Says the MFTs versus Wyatt's feud was never interesting to me. You are not the only one. You are not the only one. So it's very hot in the day and very cold. Well, I knew it would be on the warmer side. I'm asking, like, this time of year, how hot would it get? Because this show is being held 2 o'clock Eastern, so it's being held in the evening. So it's not going to be at its hottest when they go out there. So when the women are actually out there, I wouldn't think it's like 80 degrees outside. That's why I was asking, like, I wonder what the temperature will be when the show itself actually starts. Dry Chicken says, I have the best bad idea for Johnny Gargano. He and Candice can steal Cody Rhodes' tour bus. Actually, that might have been the funniest super chat of the night. You're insinuating that Johnny Gargano is going to feud with Cody Rhodes. That might be the funniest fucking thing I heard all day. All week. You're a funny guy. Where are the Street Profits anyway? They're back in the States doing NXT live events. Yeah. Yep. That's what they're doing. We got Keegan. Usually miss the live streams. Much love from Ohio. Curious to know if you've ever made a wrestling bucket list of things that you wanted to do or accomplish in your time with the craft as a fan and a commentator. As a commentator, I've had the pleasure of being able to call matches with some, pretty big current names in wrestling. So that's been very cool. There's maybe other names that I'd like to, call their matches as well. Or, call a match in certain venues. I think that would be cool. I don't know how practical it is. Even something like Hammerstein, like the Hammerstein Ballroom or place like that. As far as like a bucket list as a fan, I think I've said this before, and I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I would like to make my way out to Japan at some point and go see some wrestling in Japan. And I don't just mean like Wrestle Kingdom at the Tokyo Dome. That would be cool. But even like some of the smaller venues. I'll see some New Japan shows or a Stardom show or something. I think that would be cool. I've already been to a bunch of WrestleManias, so in terms of like those types of shows, I think I've already done that. So I don't know. I don't know what else would be on my bucket list. I'd have to think about that. It's a good question, though. Olivia, much love from Bulgaria. Missed tonight, but can't wait to watch the Rumble live at 8 p.m. my time with friends. Won't have to stay up until 6 a.m. this year. Look at that, all the way from Bulgaria. I wonder if the Bulgarian Brute will be in the Royal Rumble. He hasn't been doing a whole hell of a lot. Olivia, thank you. I'm glad you were able to make the stream. Nick Grasso says, Ava took to social media, said that she's leaving WWE, so with Ava parting ways, does William Regal become the GM again? Do you look back at her run and see her as another David Flair? I was going to say more Tiffany from her time as the GM of ECW. Or, I hate to even make this comparison, but Mike Adamle when he was the general manager of Raw. But yeah, Regal, I don't know if Regal wants to be an on-air personality again, but sure, I could see that. I just think he might be doing more stuff on the main roster where he wouldn't have the time to necessarily be on that show every single week. And like on that show, the GM is basically on the actual television show every week. So time-wise, I don't know if that's something he wants to do. We've got Dried Chicken. Says if he was head of creative, he's adding Tyler Bate, Big E, R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, and Natalya as my creative team. That's a lot of people to add to the creative team all at once who have never in their lives booked creative. That's a very bad idea. I think you want to just slow rotate people in if you want to see if they have the capacity to be a good creative voice. To just blow up the creative team and put all those people in the room, I think would be premature. Olivia says, how did you feel when Y2J's 1999 debut happened? I thought it was cool. I think everybody knew that it was Jericho who was coming in when those countdowns started running in June. I think it was the end of June when the first countdown clock showed up. And everybody knew. Like, we were already online at that point, and it was pretty much well known that Jericho was coming in. He was the Millennium Man. So there was a lot of excitement for it. And then when it actually happened and he showed up and was going back and forth on the mic with The Rock, like, that was a big deal. That was one of the bigger moments in Raw history. Yukio rules. Solo is going to have the Kurt Angle headgear with the hair. Have Solo Sikoa wins and I have to shave my head bald? Yeah, I'll have the amateur headgear with the wig underneath. That actually would be very funny. Sidro, what do you call a kinky pasta? A fettuccine. Oh my God. And one spelling error can ruin your marriage. I accidentally messaged my wife, I'm having a great time. I wish you were her. I could see where that might result in divorce. Irreconcilable differences. I could see that. Are you speaking from experience, Sidra? Horatio Alger, it's unfair that women must cover up, but not the men. They knew that when they made the decision to run over there. I don't disagree, but the money the WWE is getting for these shows, I don't think they give a shit. I think they've made that abundantly clear. Sidro says, how did Batman's mom call him in for dinner? Dinner. Dinner. You son of a bitch. I'm not finishing that. Because I won't be able to without breaking up. Man caught stealing Viagra. Police say that he's facing a hard time. And what do you get when you rub two oranges together? Pulp friction.
You suck.
Unbelievable. This guy's a menace. He has to be stopped. Has to be stopped. Holiday says, I wouldn't rule out Jacob Fatu winning the Men's Royal Rumble as a surprise, especially if Liv wins the Women's Rumble for Raw. Rhodes is likely to be shoehorned, resulting in a triple threat at WrestleMania. Well, someone better be shoehorned, because what I don't want is just another singles match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. So you got to work Jacob in there somehow. Or Randy Orton or someone. You cannot just give us another Cody and Drew match and say, here you go. That's your WrestleMania main event. That would be fucking lame. Toya says, I can't wait until the Royal Rumble to be over. This is just painful. My favorite event, and I'm not excited about it. Devin from NJ. Much like Toya, dropping a $5 super chat. Thank you both. Says, why would Roman mock Brock for being a part-timer in 2018 only to go on and have the same schedule a few years later? A little hypocritical. Well, that's what happens when you have, what was he, have 5 kids? Including 2 sets of twins. He's had health issues in the past, so perhaps there are reasons why his schedule is so reduced. But of course, you got to watch what you say. Like when you criticize other talents and members on the roster. He did the same thing with John Cena years ago. Remember that whole promo battle? I hesitate to even call it a promo battle. It was more like a massacre. But when we had Roman and John Cena in the ring, cutting promos on each other before their match at No Mercy, I think it was. And Roman is calling him part-time and all this stuff. It's like, one of these days, that's going to be you. And people are going to look back and go, boy, you sound like a hypocrite. Jeremy Rose says, when it comes to Roman, do you think there is anyone that eliminating him could set up an interesting WrestleMania match? Yeah, Braun Breaker. Also, if Roman is in the main event, do you see any shot that he would choose Punk? That could be fire. I mean, if he wins the Rumble, I'm hoping he picks Punk. That's the match I'm hoping for. I wouldn't mind him and Drew, because there's history there. But I feel like if you occupy Drew with Roman, then what the fuck does Cody do? Cody or Jacob? It's a little bit cleaner, I think, if he chooses Punk and then he goes off and they have their singles match. Dry Chicken says, Billy the Puppet's choice. Take a mist to the face from Asuka, a snake bite from one of Jake's pet snakes, or have 100 cats in your room. Oh my God, I could smell this super chat. My allergies, I would be dead, I think. So I am, if I can only make one choice here, I'll take mist to the face from Asuka. And you know why? Because one thing I will not have to worry about, if Asuka mists me in the face, unlike some of the other women over the years that she has misted, at least I won't have to worry about getting pregnant. So there you go. I'll take the mist. Hulkling93 Solo, I know you prefer Gunther winning for a while. Unless Gunther is not part of every PLE cycle after WrestleMania, then it can get uninspired real fast if there aren't strong programs lined up. Yes, I agree. It's on them to come up with interesting opponents and stories for him. And I'm not even saying he has to go unbeaten the whole year. But I do think that, you know, given this huge win that he got last month, that he should go unbeaten for a while until it really means something when somebody finally does beat him. And AJ Styles being the one to do it, I don't really see what that accomplishes. Paul Jackson. What if Gunther attacks and beats down AJ Styles during his entrance? Destroys AJ to where the match is canceled and we get the actual match of WrestleMania. So what you're proposing is that on a 4-match PLE, that we end up getting 3 matches instead of 4. Yeah, I don't like that. I would say that is a very bad idea. Don't do that. Don't do that. Ross Lawman and Nakamura spoiled the AJ finish, and now spoiler number 2. Boy, they're just spoiling everything, aren't they? Dry Chicken says, AJ against Gunther at the Rumble. Spoiler, AJ Styles will purposely take a countout loss from Gunther instead of a pin or a submission. Yeah, but he still loses. Why would he do that? Then he would just retire himself. That's the John Cena match all over again, where he just decided to tap out. Gunther didn't beat him. John Cena beat himself. I wouldn't run that finish back again. Although it would be kind of funny if, like, if the story was that AJ just wanted to get out of his contract. So he retired just so he can go work other places. Gets himself intentionally disqualified or counted out. Pops up on Dynamite the following week. So then instead of 489,000 people watching Dynamite last week, they'll be up to 511. I figure AJ popping up there would be good for an extra 25,000 people. What do you think? Maybe 30? Pillow VP. Brock is going to slaughter Kit Wilson in the Rumble. See, I figured that if Braun is number 1, then Kit Wilson comes out at number 2. Give me back shots. Solomonster is with us. Faster than a bear, stronger than a buck. You want me to finish this? The biggest thing to hit Canada because the Maple Leafs suck. One of the all-time great promos. Alex says, Brother Solo, I just finished watching the Royal Rumble 1994 and noticed they didn't play their entrance music for each person. When did they change that? Also, do you think they should have had Brett eliminate Owen? I think there were, in some of the early Rumbles, there were instances of them playing entrance music. And then they did away with it, and I don't think it was until 96. I want to say 1996 is when they started playing entrance music. I know for a fact that in 96, when Shawn Michaels came out, they played his music. I don't remember if everybody got music in the Rumble that year, but I want to say 96. JDF VA, buy or sell the snow and ice or the birds over the Van Wyck? Can we bury the birds in the ice? Can we do that? I'll take the birds over the Van Wyck because at least with the birds, you know, you have a shot when you come out under the underpass of maybe, you know, ducking and dodging and maybe they don't hit you. Maybe they don't hit that bullseye. At least I can drive my car. I can't even move the fucking thing now. Super Pony, better Rumble last man standing match. Kevin Owens against Jon Moxley from 2016. Or John Cena against Umaga from 2007. I think both are the 2 best last man standing matches ever. Interesting. Well, then you need to see Triple H against Chris Jericho from Fully Loaded in 2000 and then get back to me. I was at that Royal Rumble in 2016. That was the opening match. Right? That was for the Intercontinental title. That was an excellent match between Ambrose and Owens. But I got to go Cena and Umaga. That one gets my vote. Phil says, hey, Solo, are you a ketchup or mustard guy? I enjoy both. Mustard on my hot dog, ketchup on my burger. I can't really choose one over the other. I use them both equally. Base Beer is Solo, the sun is still out. Yes, I know. It's very unusual for me to be out, as you can tell, very unusual for me to be out in the sun. Base Bear says Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules. Okay. Super Pony says, do they know that Unreal makes them look even more creatively incompetent than the fans already think they are, or do they just not care? Yeah, I don't think they care, because it certainly didn't do them any favors, the way they came across on that show. By the way, I will have a full review. I'm not really going every scene episode by episode, but I will have a full review with my thoughts on Unreal Season 2. That'll be on the podcast this Sunday. And Super Pony says, also, why is Bruce still in creative meetings? Because Triple H loves him. Triple H loves Bruce. Olivia says, who does Pete Dunne hate more, Vince or Triple H? At this point, you know what? It's debatable. I'm going to say Vince, but I think it might be close. Toya says, what if Gunther got caught cheating? He cheated before. What makes me think that he won't? Oh, in the match. I didn't know what you were talking about there for a second. It's like, he cheated before. On Ginny? Oh, in the match. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's possible. I mean, it's possible that he is throwing everything at AJ and it's not working, and out of desperation, he does something to get himself disqualified. Thus, AJ's career goes on. That is possible. That's about the only way for them to get out of this, though, I think, as far as keeping AJ around. I mean, they don't have a lot of great options here. And Base Beer says, Austin Theory will win the Royal Rumble. Well, I see Base Beerus is getting started. Boy, it's a little early to be drinking this time of day. But I guess it's happy hour somewhere. He got the happy hour on Friday started early with that super chat. And Dry Chicken says, Nia Jax will eliminate Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Oh, man. I think Bliss fans' head is going to explode if that happens. And Super Pony Solo, did you forget to spin the wheel? I did. I did forget to spin the wheel. Well, that's on me, and so I guess I owe you a Be the Booker because I forgot to spin the wheel. We are, though, at 372 likes, so it would be cool if we can hit 400. I didn't think we would this early in the afternoon, but we're pretty close. So hit that like button. But yes, I forgot to spin the wheel, so I guess I owe you some Be the Booker. So let's do it. Let's be the Booker, everybody. If I can find the button, there it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
I think if Nia Jax eliminates Alexa and Charlotte at the same time, I think BlissFan is going to be on a rampage in the chat. I fear for his mental health if that happens. So let's get a little preview for what we can hopefully expect tomorrow. I expect to easily hit the goal tomorrow for Be the Booker because we'll have a lot more people here. But let's do a little preview. That's right. Hey, I am a man of the people. It's the least I could do since I forgot to spin the wheel. We have now. See this right here. This ain't the War Raiders. This is War Machine with their IWGP tag team titles. We got ourselves some War Machine. That's from the Ring of Honor days. And War Machine is going to be taking on Edge and Randy Orton. That's a fine way to kick off Be the Booker here. I like that. I like that. Let's keep it going here. Since WWE is only giving you 4 matches tomorrow, I'll give you 3 more. This will be your women's match. It's going to be the former TNA Knockouts champion, Mickie James. She's popped up in the Royal Rumble before as a surprise. I don't expect her to tomorrow, but she has been a surprise entrant before. Mickie James against Ms. Jackie. I think Jackie gets enough love. Mickie and Jackie. Boy, that dress is doing a lot of work. Let's go to the med. Our main event. Main event time. We have the reigning TNT champion, Mark Briscoe, who will be defending that title tomorrow against Tommaso Ciampa in Ciampa's debut match in AEW. And if it were me, I'd be putting that TNT title on Tommaso Ciampa. So this is going to be a bit of a warm-up here for Mark Briscoe. Mil Muertes will have the lovely Katrina in his corner. Mil Muertes. God, Ricky Banderas, how old is he now? He's got to be about 50. He's still doing his thing. Mil Muertes and Mark Briscoe, I feel like, would be a very bloody, very violent match. Especially if they did that match in Lucha Underground. Look at that. I didn't even spin the wheel and know I was going to do this, and you guys just got a clean sweep. And be the booker. Now, can we repeat that tomorrow? That's going to be the question, because, again, I'm going to be live with you for the Royal Rumble. 9 p.m. Eastern is the plan. So a few hours after the Rumble ends, you guys can go eat and get showered up or liquored up or whatever you're going to be doing. And then you can drop on by the YouTube channel, and we will talk about the 2026 Royal Rumble from Riyadh. So that is the plan. It makes me sad that there were people in the chat going, who, when I landed on Mil Muertes.
MENTOS The Freshmaker.
Well, that put a smile on my face. Yeah, I just said I was sad, and now I'm happy. That's the effect that Mentos has. See? When you're sad, you pop a Mentos, and now you're happy. That was Yukio. Yukio rules with the $30 super chat. My dream Be the Booker match is Solomonster against Al Bundy. Well, you know what? That match is possible because both of us are in Be the Booker. So one of these days, maybe tomorrow, we could very well, and then you guys have to make a choice as far as who goes over in that match. That's going to be up to you to make that decision. Dry Chicken says, it's the good son scenario. Save one and let the other one go. Trick Williams or Kevin Knight? Well, Kevin Knight is a better wrestler than Trick Williams. And Kevin Knight is very fun to watch. Trick Williams is already being groomed for glory in a way that I think he'll get there before Kevin Knight does. As far as being in that top mix. The jury is out whether or not Kevin Knight will have the opportunity to get there in AEW. I think he has the talent to, for sure. So if I had to, I don't really have any sort of personal preference here. I think they're both talented in their own way. Trick is far more charismatic. That's why I think it's that he's going to go a lot further, a lot quicker because of that. There are a lot of examples of guys in wrestling who either were not very good in the ring or they were okay. They were serviceable. They were solid. But they just had personality and charisma for days. And that's what makes it fun. To watch those personalities shine through on TV. And those are the guys that usually go on to become world champion and have great success. So I feel like he will get there sooner than Kevin Knight will, but if I had to choose just one, man, that's tough. That is tough. I don't know. I could flip a coin and be happy with whatever it lands on. I'll go Trick. I'll go Trick Williams, but I mean, I'd be fine with either one. Olivia, I will be live tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. So where you are, I don't know what that would be where you are. It's probably going to be very late for you. Think about it like this. Normally when I go live, it's like 11 o'clock my time. So whatever time it normally would be by you, I'm only going to be going live maybe a couple of hours earlier than usual. But hopefully you can join, at least for the beginning of the stream. Hopefully you can join. And we did hit 400 likes on a Friday afternoon. I'll take it. I'll take it. 4 a.m. by you. Ooh. All right, so then maybe you won't be tuned in. It's going to be 4 a.m. where Olivia is. Well, if you can't join live, the review will be there for you when you wake up. So either way, you'll get to check it out. I appreciate everybody who joined here on this stream. I didn't know what to expect going live at 3:30, but we had a pretty solid crowd here. So I thank you for that. And thank you for all of the support, and Sidro for the jokes, and everybody else for all of the comments and questions. You guys are awesome. We'll do it all again tomorrow for the Rumble, and then episode 949 of the Sound Off on Sunday. We'll have all the Rumble fallout, full review of season 2 of WWE Unreal. There'll be some AEW news, a bunch of mailbag questions. Should be a good time. We have got Double X, Not Today J, channel member for 6 months. I'm grateful to be listening to you. Here's to many more months. Well, thank you. Thank you for those 6 months. Here's to 6 more. We passed 90,100 subscribers a few days ago. So now we're on our way to 90.2. So tell a friend. If they're not already subscribed to the channel, they may enjoy the content. They may like what they see. Am I going to be at Fanatics? Did somebody ask me that? I don't even know when it... Fanatics Fest NYC? I don't even know when Fanatics Fest is. Probably not. When is Fanatics Fest? And where is it? We are doing another show, though. House of Glory is doing another show in March 21st, out on Long Island, tied into the big event. And I'll probably be there, midday. So if you're heading to the big event in March, out on the island, and if you're sticking around for most of the day, you'll probably, even if you're not going to the Hog Show, you'll probably be able to find me. I'll probably be walking around there. But that's going to be on March 21st. Tonight, though, again, is the HOG debut in Los Angeles. I will not be there, obviously, but there's going to be a lot of great matches. That's a great venue. I'm having some FOMO right now, not being in that venue. It's in the Globe Theater, which is an iconic venue there in Los Angeles. I'm sure it will not be our final time there. But if you want to watch the show, it is supposed to be streaming on Triller TV tonight, 11 Eastern. Because, again, they're out on the West Coast. So I'll be watching, and you should be too. All right, I'm going to head out. Be well. Stay safe. Thank you again for hanging out with me on a Friday afternoon. And we'll do it all over again. Tomorrow is the big day. It is the Royal Rumble. And I will see you guys there for all the action. Until then, take care, guys.